Welcome back, guys. In this section, we are going to see about the file system versus database systems. In the previous section, we have gone through the historical perspective. So, coming to the topic, file system versus database management system. Before going to the difference, first we need to know whether what is meant by file system and what is meant by database management system. We have seen in the previous section, database management system is about collection of applications, collection of different datas and their relationships, related data, collection of related data, right? And this data can be accessed by the user through some applications, that a user access the data from the database management system. This is DBMS. But coming to the file system consisting of directory means some type of folder directory. From that folder, we have subfolders or we have files directly. We can have directly files. Here we can see we can have directly files, or we have a folder within the folder also. In the folder we have files. So in this format the file system works, right? So now we'll see what is the difference between the database management system and the file system. First one, in file system the data is unstructured. In file system the data is unstructured, whereas in database management system the data is structured. And coming to the presentation of data, the in file system the data is presented in the form of folders and files and folders. But whereas in database management system, it is the data is stored in the form of relationships and tables. Manual searching and processing of files. For example, if we want any file to access it, then we'll go in the folder, we'll search for the file, we'll open each and every folder. But whereas DBMS, we need just we'll write a one line of query. That means a statement, a syntax like statement. So once we write that, it by default it's the query solves it, and it gives the data whatever we need. Okay, limited control over the data integrity. We have only limited access for specific folders. We don't have complete access. Whereas here, enforced integrity constraints of data accuracy. That means if the developer who is developed those applications related to that database, that person have complete authority towards the database. So coming to the high redundancy lead to data inconsistency. So when the data is large, then the redundancy may increase. Okay. So in the same format, controlled, but in database management, it control redundancy through normalization. Not redundancy means when the data is large, the redundancy problem exists. But in database, this redundancy problem is controlled over normalization. Whereas it is inconsistent, data inconsistency lead to the high redundancy. So difficult to establish and maintain relationships. It is very difficult to establish and maintain relationships between the files, related files to be gathered together. It is a difficult concept when we come to the when there is a large number of files. But whereas in database management system, it is easy to establish the relationship, because it by default it's basically one line of coding concepts, one line of query concepts. Once we write a query, it automatically gathers the related relationship tables together. Okay. Next, limited scalability may become challenging as data grows. Scalability means the ability to access that reliably access the information. When the large number of data, when large number of files are existing, then it will become slow. Once we open it, it will take 2 to 3 minutes to load it, to open it. Okay. But whereas database management system can handle large amount of data and scale easily. Obviously database management is developed because for the reason to manage large number of data sets, right? So it is easy to manage. When coming to the database management system, it is easy to manage large number of data amounts. So limited support for concurrent access. So multiple users cannot concurrently access the resources, I mean cannot access the files multiple. But whereas support concurrent access with proper mechanisms. When, for example, of 4 to 5 people develop the application, that only one application have only one database, right? So those 4 people can access the database, access concurrently, parallelly they can access. But if the database has a limit, I mean specific structured mechanism, a clear and quiet mechanisms, if it is developed with so much of troubles and unstructured way, then it will be complicated to access those informations. Okay. And now specific query language data access manually. No specific query language. It does not have any query language to access or modify data. But whereas it has some query languages, like structured query language is one of the example to access the data from the database management system. So basic level security measures. So it will have less security when compared to the database management system. Okay, and gradually access control and user authenticate, it have a lot of security because we use this online, means it will be access remotely. Remotely also we can access this information. There's a reason it should have multiple security and authentication. Okay, limited transaction support. So obviously we cannot transfer the files multiple. It have only limited size. When we want to transfer files and folders, it are limited. But whereas ACD property support for reliable transactions, unlimited, we can go with the large number of file transactions also. Okay, next one is manual backup. Manual backup and recovery means we need to manually back up and recover the information when we got in trouble. But whereas coming to the automated backup and recovery, for example, when we are working on some data, suddenly my some many issues based on some many issues, the data has been the modification of data has been stopped. Then the DBMS by default backups the information. Whenever I again open that application, it automatically backups. Okay, next, simple and straightforward but less organized, and more complex but provides structured environment. It's complex, obviously. When data is more, it's complex. Understanding is complex of data. Database management system is complex to understand. But whereas for file management system is easy to understand, but it is complicated to use sometimes when data is large. Okay, reliable and manual consisting checks, enforce consistency through transactions. Typically lacks features for concurrent access controller. Limited concurrent control అంటే parallel గా access చేసే when you want to access parallelly, it will give limited features అనమాట. It have a limited features when we coming to the parallel accessing. It supports multiple features. It have more features when coming to the parallel access, concurrent access. Okay, I think you got clear picture about the uh, file system versus database management system. If you have any doubts, please do comment in the comment section, and do like, share and subscribe to our channel, Engineering Chaduvu YouTube channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.